Hello, and welcome to the Reflective Journal, coming to you live from my office in Q East. I am Daniel Kublik, and today I will be reflecting about all things international finance with my business partner and assignment partner, Andrew Menegas. Our initial market view was used to construct our initial trading strategy based on the research of the various economies and economic factors that might impact on the currencies. The skills used to construct this initial market view include forecasting, modeling, analyzing, crafting compelling stories built on macroeconomic insights, interpreting and communicating changes of the FX rates, and most importantly, collaborating with others. Now I would like to pass on the reflection to my business partner and assignment partner, Andrew. Andrew, mate, are you there?
Yes, Daniel. Yep, thanks for that. You raised some great points, by the way. Cheers. I've found that when conducting our initial market view, Daniel and myself worked well as a team to delegate which roles we would have to complete, such as myself, where I would have to look at the currencies of AUD to the USD and the JPY to the USD. Some critical analysis was conducted to determine our initial positions on the currencies, such as researching key news sources such as the BBC and Thomas Reuters. My analysis on the AUD USD found me taking a position on the US bond market, as well as analysing the recent figures of inflation that were reported in Australia at the time. When making those assertions, I used industry relevant skills such as forecasting by using exchange rate charts like the Japanese candlestick graphs, and I communicated my findings effectively in a report format so it was easy to interpret our findings, and that was all relevant to the industry knowledge that we had learnt. I might give Daniel another call now and see if he has anything more to add. Hey Daniel, you still there? I might pass it back to you. Thanks.
Hey, Andrew. I would like to reflect on our revised market view now. We as a group had the chance to restructure our portfolio based on the theories we had learnt and our consideration of the issues that may have arisen and impacted on our portfolio. However, our decisions to change and restructure must have reasoning behind it. By drawing information from key resources, such as the various central banks of the currencies traded, for example, the Reserve Bank of Australia. We can gather key economic indicators which may point to where an exchange rate is likely to head. We can gather interest rate decisions and inflation rates, as they were the main indicators given by the central banks used to speculate our position. Information was also drawn from articles of various news outlets, such as Bloomberg Business or CNBC Money, to determine what the markets believed and what would happen in the FX world. The skills used, much like the initial market review, involve forecasting, modeling, analyzing, and interpreting, and communicating changes of FX rates, and most importantly, collaborating with others. However, crafting compelling stories built on macroeconomic insights from various sources is the skill most used in this report, as explained before. So Andrew, how would you reflect on our revised market view? And remember to come back to me for the final reflections.
Oh, Daniel, you've called me at the wrong time. I'm just reading my favourite book. Hi Daniel. Yep, I've heard what you said. Yep, I'll provide my findings now as well. Thanks. I know we had a lot of fun preparing that market view report, as it was a good opportunity for us to look back on what our initial view was early in the semester. As we learned, a lot can happen in the space of 4 weeks, and the movements of exchange rates had us having to reevaluate our position in order to make the correct and calculated decisions moving forward. In my review of the USD JPY, the currency pair, I adopted coursework learnings such as how to interpret Japanese candlestick graphs to recognize the bullish trends that were evident in our findings. When I learned of the current trends in the market, I was able to use analytical skills to determine what we had observed previously to what we had observed back then. Making those assertions, we came to a decision to reevaluate our trading strategy, one that I had to communicate with clear communication skills to Daniel. For him to be supportive of my decision, I utilized skills such as crafting compelling stories that were built on macroeconomic insights. And our actual trading strategy changed to the fact that we had to hold less JPY within our portfolio. Back to you, Daniel. Good work so far.
Thanks for that, Andrew. Okay, I'll now lastly reflect on how the final market view and this presentation requires a skill needed in the professional world. These final tasks draw on many skills and qualities, such as being a positive team leader with a desire to improve through collaboration and innovation. In our final report, Andrew and I have looked at previous feedback and have taken it on board to deliver a higher grade of market view and presentation. Also, the ability to work both independently is needed, as most of the legwork is done away from the group. Without the drive to complete tasks set by the group, this report and video would not be completed. Strong skills with creative mediums, such as screencast, are also integral to our presentation this evening. Our ability to communicate effectively with various levels of leadership are drawn into the presentation, as we have to reflect our findings confidently and clearly to you, the listener. Creating high quality content for senior leadership to support strategic proposals draws from our in-depth trading strategy, which communicate our findings into an action plan. Forecasting, modeling, and analyzing key findings allow us to formulate our trading strategies, allowing us to craft compelling stories built on macroeconomic insights. And finally, the bonus mark awarded for the correlation matrix and regression analysis. It draws from a key qualification in the Nike job, stating a need for strong quantitative and analytical skills. You must be comfortable with building and interpreting models in Excel. Thank you for listening to my reflection. I'll pass you on to Andrew now. Andrew, they're ready for you. Thanks, guys.
Thanks for getting back to me, Daniel. Great work so far. Our final report found us developing presentation skills in order to be able to convey all the information we had developed over the course of the project. We adopted clear subheadings in our report in order to fully determine which information we wanted to include in the report. Daniel and I showed great leadership by communicating confidently with each other and making team decisions. Our ability to make trading recommendations to take on board into the future was very thorough, representing our ability to analyze on our mistakes, such as the one in our report, over-allocated funds in JPY USD, and then using forecasting skills to make decisions on what would happen in the future if certain movements in exchange rate currencies were to occur again. Overall, it was a good experience to conduct such a project. In relation to roles learned of the senior financial analyst, especially in the case of Nike, Nike promote that the role of the analyst isn't necessarily just about the numbers, it's also about meeting the requirements and the objectives of the report in all aspects of Nike. It's the matter to actually be able to be a leader of a global treasury group and also to collaborate with also other finance teams that are beyond your department. Many skills such as forecasting, analyzing, and modeling are very relevant to the role of an analyst. And furthermore, it's also the ability to have strong communication skills and to work strongly in a team environment. And with those communication skills, also the ability to present as a person. And that will develop also your interpersonal skills to be able to conduct such a role within that organization. Thank you for listening to Daniel and I, and we hope you enjoyed our presentation. Thank you.